come here. Look at this. It's fresh beaver tracks. And you know that there's food around when you find fresh beaver tracks this size.
Baby, wait, I know that you're afraid, but it'll be okay if you just stay with me. We can run from here, and we can disappear, and we can find us when we are going.
Students, I want to know what you think about the wilds or the wilderness. Are you the type of person that likes to go camping or be outdoorsy? Or are you the type of person that likes to be inside in the air condition or covered in bug spray, especially today? Maybe you didn't know this, but Cameron actually claims to be kind of an outdoorsman. He claims to be able to build a shelter out of anything, to have taken down a bear by himself. And so we're out here today to see can Cameron actually do it and maybe pick up some tips along the way.
First rule, like I said, find water. Second rule though, is you need to build a shelter. So what you want to look for is sticks with about 1.25 inches diameter. It would help if you had a ruler or a protractor, anything like that. Find some big old sticks like this, and you just want to start stacking your sticks up. You may notice that the mosquitoes start to go away because they know once you build that shelter, it's done. They don't have any food anymore where you are. It's stuck in the ground real good now. Oh my goodness. It's a palm frond. You're just gonna get all these palm fronds right here. You're gonna lay down, and you're just gonna cover yourself. Tricks the mosquitoes and the Bengal tigers, and it makes them think that you're not around anymore. And that is how you build a shelter.
Students, again, I want to ask you, do you enjoy going outdoors? Do you enjoy the wilderness or the wild? I think most people can agree that the wild is full of some incredible things that you just have to experience and see for yourself. But not everybody is quick to jump out and to do it. I think a lot of times we're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of the wild. Some of us just like the air conditioning. But students, in the very same way, I feel like trusting God is a lot like going out into the wild. There's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of what ifs. And God is calling all of us to trust Him and to take some steps and to step out of our comfort zone and into the unknown with Him. And students, if you feel like you're just afraid to do that or you just don't know what could happen, I want to encourage you, you and I are not the only people to have ever experienced that. And I want to tell you the story about an ordinary, unremarkable guy named Abram. And in the Old Testament, God will show us the story of this ordinary guy who's from an ordinary place called Ur. I mean, it just tells you how boring his life probably is. And yet God's going to step into his story and ask him to do one thing, and it will change not only his life, but the entire course of human history. And I want to read to you what happened here. It says, Genesis 12, it says that the Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you, and I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." Now, God drops this request on Abram, and his name eventually became Abraham. And he says, listen, I'm going to change everything. I'm going to change your life and all of human history. But the first thing I want you to do is just to go. I want you to take that first step. And he's asking Abraham to leave everything he's ever known. His family, his country, his home, and to go to a place he's never been. The wild, essentially. And God is basically saying, listen, trust me and take this one step of faith. And through you, I will change all of human history. An entire people group will be born out of his lineage. All the Jewish people, and Jesus will come out of his line. And so students, here's the point I want you to see. If we want to grow, we need to go. We need to move for God to begin to grow us. And where God wants us to move and God wants us to trust him in these moments. And I want you to see what Abraham did. Here's what it said in verse 4. So Abram went as the Lord told him. He trusted God. And he said, I don't know how this is going to end. I don't know what's waiting for me, but I will trust you and take that first step and go. And to go to the place that you've told me. And students, I want you to see this one small step of obedience changed all of history. And in the same way, God can do the same through a small step of obedience in your life. And I want you to know that God sees the same potential that he saw in Abraham in you. You are the same, and God wants to do so much through you and through the story he's telling in your life. And so students, this doesn't mean that you need to peace out to your family and go out into the physical wilderness, but maybe God's calling you to take one step and to trust him with one thing or to move in one direction. And maybe for you it's to repair your family or to begin to forgive somebody or begin to talk to people in your family that may have relationships that may have been damaged. Maybe God's calling you to move away from a friendship or from a dating relationship that has not been good for you. Maybe God's calling you to be honest or open with your small group about something tonight. Maybe he's calling you to delete certain apps on your phone that aren't helping you make wise choices, or to go on a mission trip, or to begin to attend small group regularly or come to church. Whatever it is, students, I want to challenge you. What's that one small step? What's the first step that God is calling you to do? There are many times where God calls us out to do something and we don't see the full plan. And I want you to hear this today, students. You don't know the significance of your steps. It may seem small and minuscule to you, but you don't know what God could do with what you just started. In the same way God told Abraham to move and to leave everything behind, he could not see the full picture of what God was going to do with that. And in the same way, students, God may be calling you to do something that may seem small to you, but he may begin something there that you don't know the full significance of. And so students, what is God calling you to do? God said, eventually when Jesus showed up on the scene, he had this to say. He said, "I've come that they may have life and have it to the full." Jesus showed up to transform our lives forever. And yet, he's calling us to move. He's saying, begin to move and move in a direction, and it's through that that I will begin to shape and change you. And so students, what are the things God may be leading you to do? And if you don't know, that's okay. Talk about it. Talk about it with your small group. Pray about it. Ask God to show you. But what could those be? And it may not be one of the things I listed here. And students, for some of you, it may be, honestly, to trust Jesus for the first time. Maybe you've never actually given your life to Jesus and said, "I want to follow you." Maybe that's your first step of obedience. Maybe God's calling you to take your next step in baptism and go public with your faith. We would love to celebrate that with you. There are so many things it could be, students, but we just want you to see this. Take one. Take one small step, because you don't know the significance, and it's through that that God could do so much.
What's up, high schoolers? We are having high school night out next Wednesday night, and that means we're taking over McLean Park. We will have all sorts of games like volleyball, ultimate frisbee, a basketball tournament with all sorts of prizes and giveaways. Hope to see you there. 7 o'clock. Once you build that shelter, it's done. They don't have any food anymore where you are.